Welcome to Valle de Oro National Wildlife Refuge here in Albuquerque. This was the very first urban wildlife refuge in the Southwest, and I must have been living under a rock because I didn't even know it was here. It opened in about 2012 and they've been upgrading the area since. So come along with us as we walk along the Valle de Oro Wildlife Trail and look for the birds that are migrating through this area over the winter. And did I mention this area is free of charge? Now you can find Valle de Oro just on 2nd Street. It is south of Bobby Foster and west of I-25, right off of 2nd Street. Inside the visitor center, you can get a pamphlet of upcoming events. Might be interesting to attend if you live near the area. They had stargazing events in the evening, and they have special days where you can come before sunrise to catch the geese in the area. I'll show you a little clip of what was on their schedule of events for the upcoming month. They've done a fabulous job on the visitor center, and there are nice gravel paths. They've developed some trails that take you all the way down to the river. They've got signs and some little murals along the way for various areas to sit and relax. We were welcomed by 3 sandhill cranes right as soon as we walked up to the visitor center. Completely took me by surprise. So there are plenty of wildlife around here. You've just got to pay attention. So we're starting the 2.5-mile loop that goes around this area and down to the river. I guess in the far corner there's a little bridge that goes over to the river that you can check out. Now for decades this area was owned by a dairy farming family that owned all this land, and eventually it went up for sale, and the nearby community of Mountain View did not want another industrial complex to be built here. And so the community raised half the amount of funds it took to buy the property. With that amount of money saved up to save this land, the Fish and Wildlife Service came in and paid for the other half. So right now it's still under development. There's various stages of construction around the property. So they're trying to bring it back to its natural state. And so it's in the process. They do allow dogs, and you can see at the beginning of the trail, they have some little doggy bags in case you need it to keep the area clean. Remember, leave no trace. This is an area specially preserved for the wildlife. This area also recently received a grant for over $200,000 to extend the Bosque Trail that goes through the city of Albuquerque. It's a river and running path all the way along the river. They're going to extend it into this park. So that's some of the future development that's coming here. Okay, we've made it to the far southwest corner of like the flat farmland type land of the property, and we're about to cross over the bridge to the river. So we just walked through there. Looks like you can also walk that way when we head back. Now at this point, when you cross over the bridge and you want to go check out the river, you're actually leaving the wildlife refuge. It's more of the Bosque area, but I want to see the water. I heard a lot of geese over in that area. I actually didn't see much on the actual wildlife itself. Of course, now I do, now that I just stopped to say that. It's over in this field by this farm. I see some geese over there, and I see some horse in the distance. So we're gonna wander a little more and see what we can check out. Well, we are by an Air Force base, so you may get a few military planes or helicopters overhead as well. So when you cross over the bridge and you're kind of looking for the river, the path that you see goes left or right, and it follows parallel to the river. So far we've been walking a little ways. We started to go left, then we turned around and we went right, and we still haven't actually seen the water of the Rio Grande. We'll go a little bit further and see if there's kind of a breakaway where you can see the river. But you can tell that there's a lot of ducks and geese on the water, and they are flying overhead. Well, this was a fail, this path. While it is beautiful walking along the cottonwoods, we couldn't actually see the water. There's too much brush between here and the river. So it looks like we're gonna have to head back the way we came. I think there was just the one bridge that went to the wildlife refuge. So right now we're just kind of exploring, but we're gonna head our way back. So we walked back to the bridge, and then we went further south, like if we would have turned left when we got on the Bosque Trail, and just a little ways down there is an offshoot that appears to be heading towards the river. I was just about to give up. It seems like whenever I'm about to give up, that's where we find it. So anyway, let's hope for the best. Okay, so after the cottonwoods, you get into these little reeds or cattails. I'm not exactly sure what they're called. And then there's a little path to the water. We found it. Boy, it's a pretty small spot. Not room for too many people to get back here. But here's the beautiful Rio Grande. And no geese. All the geese left. So I'm imagining that sunrise and sunset are the best times to catch the animals here at this wildlife refuge. We're here in the middle of the day. It's winter, it's been really cold, so we really wanted a nice walk in the warm sunshine. But we haven't seen a whole lot of birds. So since you're watching this video, I'm assuming you're interested in wildlife, and particularly in the Albuquerque area. So, you know, we didn't find a whole lot here today, but there are a few different spots along the river and the valley, the river valley. There's a few different spots in Albuquerque along the river valley, mostly private property or farmers that have large plots of land. You'll see a lot of cranes in their fields, and you can get some good photographs. So I will show you here on the map a few different spots that I personally know of. If you know of any great spots to watch wildlife, let me know down in the comments. Now, one of the other places you can reliably find wildlife is at the Rio Grande Nature Center State Park. Now that is worthy of a whole video by itself, but today I'm just going to take you to a few places where you can find wildlife in Albuquerque, quick viewing. And so if you park at the Rio Grande Nature Center, on the east side back end of the parking lot, there's some wildlife viewing areas. Now this is Candelaria Farms that was made for wildlife. You can also access it if you don't want to pay the fee at the nature park. There's a neighborhood right behind it. You can park in the neighborhood, but I've noticed they've put up fences, and I'm kind of short, so it's not as pleasant to view because the fences are in the way, and it's a big field. I could hear some cranes flying overhead, but I couldn't see any right on the area where I was standing. But here at the Rio Grande Nature Center, they have wetlands, they have ponds. I'll do a separate video where we'll go in and explore, but for now I'm going to take you to a couple different areas that I recommend if you're looking for birding here in Albuquerque. Now the next spot we're visiting is Los Poblanos open space. This is on Montano, just about a mile west of 4th Street. You can pull in and there's a bunch of fields, and I can see several cranes out in the field feeding. There was also a couple right by the road. It is free to access. It's a popular place for walkers and runners. You may have heard of Los Poblanos Farms. They have a big lavender festival, I believe in the spring, and a store. They make a lot of lavender products. So this is a great place to visit. Bring your camera and your binoculars. The next place I'm going to share with you is the Pueblo Montano picnic area and trailhead. This is an area right off Montano and Coors with a nice parking lot and a picnic area with all these beautiful wood carvings that they took these old cottonwood trees and made some fantastic artistic creations. And then you can access 2 different trails from here. You can take the Bosque Trail, or you can come, there's bike trails that come inland along the irrigation ditches on either side of the river, and then you can actually go across Montano on the bridge to view the river as well, and then take the trail on the other side of the river. So I'm gonna go, this would be a great place to see the river wildlife. I'm gonna go up over the bridge to Montano. Here you can see from the parking lot, you can either go down this series of trails this way, or you can go up over the river. I'm gonna go try to take a look at the river. Now, Albuquerque has a series of bike trails all along the river, and it's such a wonderful area to get outside. I'd like to do some biking and show you some more. Hopefully later this year, I'll get out and do that. But for now, I'm just gonna show you some free areas that you can check out for birding and wildlife viewing that are easily accessible from town. And the path continues on the other side of Montano. So I have run out of time today to finish my tour guide, but I will recommend there's another place similar to this off of Montano. It's off of Alameda. That's another access point to the river and to the Bosque trails throughout the river. And I'd also like to tell you, remind you about Coronado National Monument. That's in Bernalillo, just north of town. And they have a wonderful spot for birding overlooking the river. They put up a lot of bird feeders and such, so they get a lot of beautiful birds there. I'll link to that video as well. So thanks for watching. If you're interested in more wildlife areas in New Mexico, we have a world-renowned wildlife refuge just an hour and a half south of Albuquerque called Bosque Apache. I have a video from there that I made a couple years ago. If you're interested in watching, I'll have the link here and also down in the description below. So thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.